The impossible task. The Council's desperate plea. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Federation fell silent as Ambassador Zethanar stepped to the central podium. His crystalline form reflected the dim emergency lighting, casting rainbow shadows across the anxious faces of representatives from 47 different species. For 3 months, the Federation had searched for a solution. For 3 months, they had found nothing but failure. Esteemed members, Zethanar began, his voice carrying the weight of desperation. The Void Eaters have consumed 12 systems in the Outer Rim. Our projections show they will reach core worlds within 6 months. Every species with military capability has attempted to stop them. Every species has failed. The Assembly murmured in agreement. The Void Eaters were unlike any enemy the galaxy had ever faced. They were not a civilization or an invasion force. They were something far worse. A phenomenon. A living darkness that consumed matter itself, converting entire planets into pure energy to fuel their expansion. Nothing could stop them. Shields failed. Weapons passed through them harmlessly. Evacuation was the only option, but there were not enough ships to save everyone. We have one remaining option, Zethanar continued, pulling up a holographic display. The Nexus Core. It exists at the center of Void Eater space, deep within the consumed zone. Our scientists believe it coordinates their expansion. If we destroy it, the entire swarm will collapse. A Threxian general stood, his 6 arms crossed in skepticism. We know this already, Ambassador. What we do not know is how to reach it. The Nexus Core is protected by millions of Void Eaters. No ship has ever penetrated more than 3 light-years into their territory before being consumed. Which is why, Zethanar said carefully, we are proposing something unprecedented. We need volunteers for a one-way mission. A small strike team with a singularity bomb. Get in, detonate, and pray the explosion takes the Nexus Core with it. The Assembly erupted in protest. Suicide missions were not the Federation way. They valued all life equally. They solved problems through cooperation and technology, not sacrifice. But as the arguments raged, a calm voice cut through the chaos. We'll do it. Every head turned toward the human delegation. Ambassador Sarah Kim stood at her seat, her expression serious but not afraid. Beside her stood Captain Marcus Webb and a small team of human officers, all wearing the dark blue uniforms of Earth's Expeditionary Force. With respect, Ambassador Kim, Zethanar said gently, your species has only been part of the Federation for 20 years. You have excellent technology, but this mission requires insanity? Marcus interrupted with a slight smile. Yeah, we've got plenty of that. Sarah shot him a warning look before continuing. Ambassador Zethanar, humanity has spent its entire existence facing impossible odds. We evolved on a planet that actively tried to kill us. We survived ice ages, plagues, and our own tendency towards self-destruction. When you tell us something is impossible, we hear that as a challenge. The Threxian general scoffed. This is not about bravery, human. This is about physics. The Void Eaters will consume any ship that enters their space. There is no defense. Maybe not a defense, Marcus said, stepping forward. But there might be a way to move too fast for them to catch us. We've been studying your data. The Void Eaters react to mass and energy signatures. They swarm anything they detect. But their reaction time is approximately 0.3 seconds. He pulled up his own holographic display, showing a radical ship design. This is the breakthrough. We've been working on it in secret for the past year. It uses a quantum slip drive that essentially blinks the ship in and out of normal space. We never stay in one location long enough for the Void Eaters to lock onto us. The Assembly stared at the design in disbelief. Such technology was theoretical at best, impossible according to most Federation scientists. The energy requirements alone would vaporize any known ship. You have actually built this? Zethanar asked, his voice filled with wonder and doubt. The prototype is complete, Sarah confirmed. We've run simulations thousands of times. the math works. We can reach the Nexus core. And the bomb? The Threxian general demanded. Do you have a way to shield a singularity weapon during these quantum slips of yours? Marcus's smile faded. That's the tricky part. The slip drive can only protect the ship itself. The bomb has to travel in a separate containment vessel, tethered to us. It will be partially exposed to normal space during the mission. Then the Void Eaters will consume it before you reach the target, the general said flatly. Your mission fails before it begins. Unless we give them something else to eat, Marcus replied. He pulled up another schematic, this one showing a series of small drone ships. Decoys. Each one broadcasts a massive energy signature, much larger than the bomb. The Void Eaters go after the biggest meal. While they're swarming the decoys, we slip past with the real payload. The assembly fell silent again. It was insane. It relied on untested technology and assumptions about enemy behavior. The margin for error was essentially zero. And yet, it was the only plan anyone had proposed that had even a theoretical chance of success. The volunteers stepped forward. Zethanar looked at the human delegation for a long moment. If you fail, he said quietly, your entire crew will be consumed. There will be nothing left. No rescue. No recovery. Not even bodies to mourn. We know, Sarah said simply. But if we don't try, billions will die. That's not acceptable to us. The ambassador's crystalline form seemed to dim with sorrow. Very well. The Federation accepts your offer. You will have all the resources we can provide. May whatever gods you believe in watch over you. We don't need gods, Marcus said with confidence. We've got engineers, crazy pilots, and a really big bomb. That's the human way. 2 weeks later, the Breakthrough launched from Earth's orbital shipyard. She was a beautiful ship, sleek and dark, covered in experimental armor plating that shimmered with quantum instability. Her crew numbered just 15, all volunteers, all knowing they would probably never see home again. Captain Marcus Webb stood on the bridge, watching Earth shrink in the viewscreen. Beside him, his first officer Lieutenant Commander Amy Chen ran final system checks. Slip drive at 100%, Amy reported. Decoy drones loaded and ready. Singularity bomb secured in containment. All systems green across the board. Crew status? Marcus asked. Everyone's ready, sir. Scared, but ready. Marcus nodded. Fear was good. Fear meant you understood the danger. It was the lack of fear that got you killed. He opened the ship-wide communication channel. All hands, this is the captain. You all know what we're about to do. You all volunteered knowing the odds. I want you to know that I'm proud to serve with every one of you. Humanity has always been at its best when facing the impossible. Today, we're going to prove that once again. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. The Federation species are watching us. They think we're brave, maybe even crazy. They're right on both counts. But what they don't understand yet is that humans don't accept impossible. We break it. We rewrite it. We turn it into just another problem that needs solving. Marcus looked around the bridge at his crew. Young and old. Military veterans and civilian scientists. People from every continent on Earth, united by a single purpose. When we succeed, not if, when, the galaxy will learn something important about humanity. We're not the strongest species. We're not the smartest. But we're the ones who show up when everyone else has given up. We're the ones who volunteer for suicide missions and figure out how to make them survivable. That's who we are. That's what we do. He straightened in his captain's chair. Helm, set course for the Void Eater territory. Maximum quantum slip velocity. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do. The Breakthrough vanished from normal space in a flash of blue light. Behind her, Earth's defense fleet watched in silent tribute. And across the Federation, billions waited to see if the crazy humans could achieve the impossible, rewriting the rules. Into the darkness. The breakthrough slipped through space like a ghost, blinking in and out of reality every 0.2 seconds. Each slip moved them 3 light-years closer to their target. Each slip brought them deeper into nightmare territory. "Contact," Amy called out, her voice tight with tension. "Void Eaters ahead. Hundreds of thousands of them." The view screen showed them when the ship momentarily appeared in normal space. They looked like tears in reality itself, dark shapes that absorbed light and twisted space around them. They moved with purpose, searching, hunting, hungry for the matter they could convert to energy. "Deploy decoy alpha," Marcus ordered. A drone launched from the breakthrough, broadcasting an energy signature equivalent to a small star. The effect was immediate. Every Void Eater in range turned toward the decoy and swarmed it. The drone lasted 3 seconds before being completely consumed, but those 3 seconds allowed the breakthrough to slip past undetected. "One decoy down," Amy reported. 49 remaining. They would need every one. The journey to the Nexus core would take 6 hours of continuous slipping. 6 hours of threading the needle between death and death. One miscalculation, 1 second too long in normal space, and they would join the 12 systems that had already been consumed. 2 hours in, they encountered the first major obstacle. A dense cluster of Void Eaters formed a wall across their path, too thick to slip through even with decoys. "We can't go around," Amy said, studying the navigation display. "The cluster extends for light years in every direction. We'd run out of decoys before we cleared it." Marcus studied the problem. Every instinct told him to find another way, to play it safe. But safe was what the Federation had tried. Safe had failed. "What if we go through them?" he asked. His crew stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Sir," Amy said carefully, "if we materialize inside that cluster." "We won't materialize. Not fully." Marcus pulled up the slip drive specifications. "The drive phases us out for 0.2 seconds at a time. What if we shortened that to 0.1 seconds? We'd be semi-solid, half in our universe and half out. The Void Eaters wouldn't be able to get a lock on us." "That's not how the drive works," protested Dr. Sarah Lynn, the ship's quantum physicist. "The calculations aren't designed for partial phase states. The ship could tear itself apart." "Could," Marcus emphasized. "But might not. What's our alternative?" Silence answered him. There was no alternative. "Sarah, I need you to modify the drive," Marcus said quietly. "Amy, plot a course straight through the cluster. Shortest possible path." They worked in tense silence, making adjustments to systems that had never been tested under these conditions. Marcus watched his crew and felt a surge of pride. None of them argued. None of them suggested turning back. They were scared, certainly. But they trusted him, and they trusted each other. "Modifications complete," Sarah finally announced. "Captain, I have to warn you. This could fail in about 100 different ways. The power fluctuations alone might." "I understand, Sarah. Thank you for making it possible." Marcus straightened in his chair. "All hands, brace for rough passage. Helm, take us in." The breakthrough plunged into the Void Eater cluster. Reality became unstable. The ship flickered between states of existence, simultaneously solid and intangible. Void Eaters swarmed around them, trying to lock on, trying to consume, but the ship was like smoke, there and not there. Inside, the crew experienced something no human had ever felt before. They could see through the walls. They could feel the ship phasing through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Some screamed. Others prayed. Marcus held onto his chair and refused to look away. Then, suddenly, they were through. Normal space stabilized around them. The breakthrough was intact, her crew shaken but alive. "Status report," Marcus managed, his voice hoarse. "All systems nominal," Amy replied, checking her displays with trembling hands. "I don't believe it. We passed through them." "Believe it," Marcus said with a weak smile. "That's 3 impossible things before breakfast. Let's go for 4. The Heart of Darkness. 4 hours later, they reached the Nexus core. It was beautiful and terrible, a sphere of swirling energy the size of a planet, pulsing with the stolen life of 12 consumed systems. Streams of void eaters flowed in and out of it like blood vessels feeding a dark heart. There, Amy said, highlighting a point on the tactical display. That's the weak spot. If we can get the bomb there and detonate it, the feedback loop should tear the entire structure apart. How close do we need to get? Marcus asked. Within 50 meters. 50 meters. In space terms, that was essentially touching. They would have to materialize the bomb right next to the Nexus core, which meant materializing themselves right next to millions of void eaters. We'll have one shot, Sarah said. Once we drop out of slip mode to deploy the bomb, they'll be on us in seconds. Marcus thought for a moment, then opened a channel to the entire crew. I need volunteers to stay with the ship while others evacuate in the escape pods. Someone has to keep the ship stable long enough to deploy the bomb. Sir, Amy said immediately, we all volunteered for a one-way mission. None of us are leaving. Around the bridge, every crew member nodded in agreement. Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. These people were the best humanity had to offer. Then let's make it count, he said. Helm, bring us in. Engineering, prepare the bomb for deployment. All hands, it's been an honor serving with you. The breakthrough made her final approach. The Nexus core grew larger in the view screen, filling it with swirling darkness and stolen light. Marcus could feel the ship straining, reality itself protesting their presence. 50 meters, Amy called out. Dropping to normal space in 3, 2, 1. The ship materialized. Alarms screamed as millions of void eaters turned toward them. Marcus watched the tactical display show the swarm approaching, a wall of death that would reach them in seconds. Deploy the bomb, he shouted. The singularity weapon dropped from the breakthrough's hold. Sarah triggered the detonation sequence. 10 seconds. That's all they had. Get us out. Marcus ordered. But the slip drive wouldn't engage. The gravitational stress of the Nexus core was interfering with the quantum field. Drive failure. Sarah screamed. We're stuck. 5 seconds. Marcus looked at his crew, at the people who had trusted him, who had followed him into hell itself. He wanted to tell them he was sorry. He wanted to say something meaningful. 3 seconds. Instead, he just smiled. We did it. We actually did it. 1 second. The singularity bomb detonated. Aftermath. The explosion was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. A sphere of pure destruction expanded outward, consuming the Nexus core, consuming the void eaters, consuming everything. The feedback loop Sarah had predicted triggered perfectly. The entire void eater swarm began collapsing in on itself, imploding across dozens of light years. The breakthrough should have been vaporized instantly. But in that final moment, something impossible happened. The quantum slip drive, stressed beyond its design limits, overloaded in a completely unexpected way. Instead of tearing the ship apart, it threw them forward through dimensions that had no name, pushing them beyond the explosion's reach. When the breakthrough finally stabilized, they were floating in empty space, 20 light-years from the detonation point. Every system was dead except life support. The ship was a wreck, barely holding together. But she was intact, and her crew was alive. Someone tell me that actually worked, Marcus croaked, hauling himself back into his captain's chair. Amy checked her sensor readings, then started laughing. Sir, the Nexus core is gone. The Void Eaters are collapsing. The Federation is picking up our distress beacon. They're sending rescue ships. The bridge erupted in celebration. Crew members hugged each other, cried, laughed with the delirious joy of people who had faced certain death and somehow survived. 3 days later, a Federation rescue fleet found them. The breakthrough was towed back to the nearest starbase, where doctors declared the entire crew miraculously healthy despite their ordeal. News of their success had already spread across the galaxy. Ambassador Zethanar met them at the airlock, his crystalline form shining brightly with joy. "Captain Webb, you and your crew have accomplished the impossible. The Void Eater threat is ended. 12 systems are being reclaimed. You have saved billions of lives." Marcus shook the ambassador's hand. "We did what needed doing. That's all." "No," Zethanar said firmly. "You did what we thought was impossible. You rewrote the rules of what can be achieved. The galaxy will never forget this." Word of humanity's success spread quickly. The species that volunteered for the suicide mission. The crazy humans who looked at impossible odds and found a way to win. Suddenly, humans were in high demand. Every major expedition wanted them. Every dangerous mission requested human volunteers. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the Great Assembly Hall again, this time to receive the Federation's highest honor. As he looked out at the representatives from 47 species, all standing to applaud, he thought about what humanity had proven. They weren't the strongest. They weren't the smartest. But when everyone else said something was impossible, humans were the ones who figured out how to do it anyway. That was their gift to the galaxy. Not weapons or technology, but something more valuable, the absolute refusal to give up. As Marcus left the assembly hall, a young Phyrexian officer approached him nervously. "Captain Webb, sir? I wanted to ask, how did you know it would work?" "The quantum slip through the cluster, the drive overload that saved you." "How did you know?" Marcus smiled. "I didn't. That's the secret. Humans don't wait until we know something will work. We try it anyway, and we figure it out as we go. Sometimes we fail. But when we succeed, we change the galaxy." The officer stared at him in amazement. "That's insane." "Yeah," Marcus agreed, walking away. "That's the human way.